Okay. Hi, everybody. So sorry. Came into the office to not have internet issues and still having internet issues. So, sorry I froze before. And sorry I'm starting a little late, but my name is Sara Kojaku, and I work here at Duncan in Fresno, Central California. So I've been here almost a year now. It's almost my 1 year anniversary. So anyways, today we're going to talk about combining glazes, and I'm really excited. So if you go to the event page, I did post a it won't let you upload PDFs on Facebook events anymore, so it's a JPEG, but I sent the PDF to Savannah, so she'll be able to post that later, but you'll have it for for right now. And so I know, I'm sorry again. Hi again. Let's try take two. Okay, so excuse me. The packet that you have is just kind of a walkthrough, like super basic, kind of. Oh no! Please tell me, you guys. I am so not techie. I don't even think I posted it right. Okay, thank God Savannah is going to post it later. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the kind of different glazes, some application for each of them, and then how best to combine them. So I have a couple of samples here that I made just for the class today. I'm really excited. Sorry, everything's spread out. I'm really excited about this one. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you can't hear me too. Okay. And then if you would like, I do have a pile of stuff. I'm in my coworker's office, so I didn't have to wear a mask. But if you'd like me to demonstrate how to apply, we can do that at the end too. Okay, so some of the, and you guys post questions on the side. Thank you for forgiving me, Angela. Okay, perfect. My mom used to tell me all the time, you should be a theater actor. You would not even need a microphone. So I was really hoping you guys could still hear me. Okay, so some of the Duncan glazes that I put together for today, because we have a bunch of families of glazes, all different finishes, textures, colors, all those things, all the fun things. This was like definitely one of the fun parts of my job. I got to just play with glazes and color and texture, so that was really fun. But I narrowed it down to a few just to kind of simplify it a little bit, because we're making it easy for you, so that it's easy to translate down to your customers. And kind of the setup for this was, if you've done a bunch of it, if you haven't, this is just kind of a cool way to either appeal to people. Like, you could do this for walk-ins or to-go kits. It also works great for workshops, because you're teaching a special technique. And I know at convention Dean had mentioned, because these are specialty glazes, but you could call them like specialty products to make them sound, fancy, and like a cool way to not upsell, but make it different than just walking in and picking something and using all of the regular colors. So you could use it if you're doing like a Zoom, or if you're in studio, just kind of depending where everybody's at. they could work for workshops or walk-ins easy. So I've narrowed it down to Duncan's True Matte Glazes. So magical. I don't know who's used them before, but they have the best texture. Like, I have all my little sample chips that I keep on a ring, and they just are so great. Okay, so we have our True Matte Glazes. And then we also have our Envisions. So those are high gloss. So they're kind of the opposite of the True Matte Glazes. They have extra gloss in them, and so they are extremely shiny. They're like the greens that we use on the Christmas trees. They're high gloss, and they come in four different color depths. So Envisions come opaque, semi-opaque, translucent, which is the ones you use on the trees, and the ones that I tend to use the most. They're honestly, I might say they're my favorite right now. And then a clear. So it's kind of like a brush on clear glaze, but it's got that Envision high gloss. So, and I have a couple of samples from kind of our fall table setting stuff. If you had seen it, kind of show you how to combine those. And then crystal glazes. Crystal glazes obviously are so fun. There are so many color combinations. Like, as I sat down and was looking at the crystal glazes, Envisions, True Mattes, because Envisions we have multiple colors. True Mattes we have a good amount of colors. I wish I knew the exact number. I will work on memorizing them. But because the crystal glazes are like a base glaze, and then they have crystal chips in them inside the jar, and when they melt down, they're all different colors, right? So like here, you can see there's like 2 different colors. There's so much glare because it's so shiny. But between all of the colors in the crystal glazes, and then all of the Envisions colors and True Mattes, like, there were so many color combinations that I ADD'd out. Like, I tried to narrow it down, and I narrowed it down to 24 combinations for you. But it was so fun. So it's something that is kind of endless. So it's great with customers or in the studio, because if somebody, like, I always think about when I worked in a studio, and when I had a studio, there were always those customers that were extremely loyal, right? Came in with their kids all the time, or they came in and painted all the time. And it's kind of like, at some point, you've come in a bazillion times, you want to try something new, right? So this is something that I think would appeal to your loyal regulars who come in all the time and are looking for something different. And then once they get into that, it opens the door to like so many possibilities. And not to like really get into it too much, but I know studios do specialty glazes different ways. Some people have studio jars and they charge an extra fee to use them in the studio. I always suggest selling the bottle retail. And so they come in, most of the colors come in pints, not all of them. The crystals come in these, I know, 4-ounce jars. I knew that. These 4-ounce jars. So I would suggest just selling these retail, training them how to use them, kind of the different special tricks that go with the specialty products. And then the bottle is theirs, and they take it home, they take care of it. You're not having to maintain anything or worry about contamination. And also, I feel like it encourages people to want to come back in. So if I have this bottle sitting at home and I remember how cool the crystal glazes looked. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go back. So it's just a reminder, you know, to go back in and use the stuff. Plus they paid extra, so they're not going to let it go to waste. So I think that that is kind of a good thing for you. But no matter how you do them, the crystal glazes, there's so many colors, and most of them are food safe. So true mattes and visions are food safe. Crystals, what you want to do is on the label, if it says safe for food containers, it's food safe. If it doesn't say anything, that's not food safe because of the crystals. Sometimes they could craze. So some of them are food safe, some of them are not. So something to keep in mind as well. And then we have shimmer glazes that I used kind of to add a little bit of extra zhuzhing. So we have these are the glitter glazes. They have the fleckles in them, so you want to make sure you shake them really well. But I like to use them as like an accent because then it becomes just another texture. And I'm kind of more is more. So I, as it drips together, I wish the lighting was better. You can see there's like glitter and crystals. So I put shimmers on there just because everybody's always asking about like, is there glitter? But I also wanted to put it on there because it's just one more thing to mix in with all of your other glazes. Okay. And the last one I'm going to cover today is the Color Burst Crystal Chips. So I learned from Dean, who is my glaze and product encyclopedia. He's been here for forever and knows all the things about all the products. But basically, these Color Burst Crystal Chips are really cool. It is the actual crystals that come in the crystal glazes, just bottled. So you can make your own crystal glazes. You can use it with the concepts. You can use it with the true mattes. You can use it with anything. And they come in like, I think, 14 colors. This one's my favorite, heavy metal. But it kind of has a little bit of a metallic finish to that. And so good. So fun. Because then now anything can be a crystal glaze. I mean, seriously, unlimited. My brain is like spinning right now. Okay, so those are kind of the ones that I'm going to cover. And in your handout, because I don't think I posted it right, because I'm really technically up to it. You will have kind of a description of each of them, some application tips, couple of do's and don'ts, which I'll go over a little bit, like a little bit of troubleshooting. And then on the Color Burst Crystal Chips, say that 5 times really fast. I wrote down a description of how they traditionally act on horizontal bisque, sloped bisque, and vertical. So, because they kind of, how with the crystals, sometimes they move more than others if they're flat or standing up. So I have that on the handout for you too. Okay. Now, all of the ones that we're using today do not get dipped. What you want to do is make sure that when you are using these glazes and combining them, that you have full, complete coverage everywhere, because you're not going to dip it. It's just gonna, and also side note, because I love loading the kiln, but I didn't love glazing this. It's like dipping. So this is great. It's done. The customer paints it and you just stilt it and fire it. So easy. But yes, you want to make sure that you cover everything. So if it's like a bank or a figurine or something like that, obviously you don't have to worry about the inside. If it is like the planter, you want to do the bottom, outside, and the inside. And then I put on there too, just like as a helpful hint, what I would see a lot in the studio is customers would glaze and they would sometimes leave the rim. Like they wouldn't go back and put extra on the rim. And because sometimes they move a little bit, the edges will sometimes be glaze starved. So I would always tell customers, like, make sure you go back and put a little bit extra on the edges, especially on like the mugs and the planter type things, just to be safe, because that would happen a lot. Oh, and on plates, like this part, the rim, the edge, that would happen a lot too. Okay. Also, just some of the boring stuff so I can get to the fun stuff. For your brush care. Okay, so for larger areas of bisque, I like to use a fan brush because it's like nice, even coverage, especially with the true mattes, because they sometimes do need a fourth coat. I'm a heavy glazer. I'm a heavy glazer. So sometimes what ends up happening is I will tend to put too much more than too little, which is normally what happens with customers. So the fan brush holds a lot. I always say when you're, especially with these ones, because there's so many different elements involved, always do like test tiles for combinations, just so, and that's kind of why I made these like little color wheels for you, because you want to make sure that you've done it before. So as you're advising and helping your customers in the studio, you can be like, this one with these crystals just run more than others. So just be careful not to have them towards the bottom, all those different things. I feel like that's probably like a best practice because some of the crystal glazes do move more than others. So that would be my suggestion on that. Side note, getting rabbit trail. But the fan brush, use it for large surfaces. I did on like this one, I obviously didn't use a fan brush to paint the leaf. So I use round brushes almost exclusively. But for large surfaces, the fan brush is the best. Also, I want to let you know, because sometimes these glazes are a little bit thicker and the color's more concentrated, the color gets kind of stuck in here. So you want to make sure it's not like an acrylic. It's not going to ruin your brush to where it's like hard like plastic, but you want to make sure to rinse your brushes pretty immediately after, just to kind of get it all the way clean. And then I like to use the Duncan brush cleaner, especially with the crystal glazes, because when you use the brushes, sometimes the crystals, because they come in different sizes, they kind of get stuck in there too. So just some brush care tips, because they do tend to be thicker, more concentrated in color, and have the crystals, and the shimmers too will have the little fleckles. So just make sure you clean your brushes really well. Okay, coverage. So for a lot of these, OMG, my customers would do a lot extra. I know. It's like, customers are great, but sometimes it's like, why did you do that? Right? Okay, so for complete coverage, I always recommend to make sure each coat is completely dry before you add the next coat. And then for any of the kind of translucent or semi-translucent or the true mattes, apply each coat in a different direction. And that sometimes will, well, not sometimes, that usually evens out your coverage and makes it more even. So that's helpful as well. Like if you're firing some test samples and you're noticing you have brush strokes or things that you don't like, or you're not getting even coverage or it's splotchy, make sure to try that thing. And with customers too, because like I'm the worst. I'm so impatient. I would unload the kiln at 400 if I could. That's just basically who I am as a person. So, they tend to not let it dry all the way. And then what happens is they're lifting up that first coat or second coat, so then they're not getting as much of a thick coverage. So make sure to mention that when you're working with customers on that. All right. So are you guys ready for some color combinations? Okay. So I made two different, is that I made these two color wheels. So one and I have T-Rex arms, you guys. And two. So I'll kind of show you some of these. I'm really excited about these because they were so fun to do. And this would be something I would suggest, like this would be the fun part. Go through the glazes, pick out the colors that you like, or you think that like based on your underglaze colors, like based on like concepts colors that I know people like, I would kind of lean towards maybe like the true mattes and different things based on colors that you already sell pretty well or get used a lot in your studio. Narrow it down because, like I said, there are unlimited possibilities. And then play around with them. So, like what I did is, so I hate wasting clay, but I also hate recycling it. I hate wedging. So I take my scrap pieces of clay and I roll them out extra thin and I put holes in them. And I do that. And then we have this like Duncan, it's a gift tag. It's like in the ornaments. But I love it as like a little color swatch. And then I put the color name and you guys, everything in reverse being like, it's so hard. I label the colors. So then too, when I am sitting down trying to like, ooh, which color should I put together? I can use these like little color swatches, feel the texture, and then I keep them on like a little chain. Try not to clink these. Thanks, Amy. Maybe now I'll send you one and you'll have to hang it on your wall because next time we FaceTime, I'll be like, where's my plate? Oh my God, you guys, I'm struggling hard. Please still love me. Okay. So, and then I'll do it by like color. So these are all kind of like the peaches and the browns. So then I'll sit down and I'll have all my little chips out. And that could be something kind of fun for your customers too. Like that's another good way to kind of limit your palette and have the, little color chips. And then that's part of the process is like, ooh, I like this color together. I like this matte and this glossy together. Ooh, I can't wait to layer these. So that's kind of part. It's definitely, we're trying to sell an experience and it's definitely fun. Chip Chart does need a boyfriend. Oh my God. Boyfriend. And then I'll make one on a salad plate so they also can have a baby. Or we'll call it their puppy or their plant. I don't know. Okay, so I have just all of these all over the place all the time. So that's kind of something else to do. And then what I will do also is if I'm wondering how two glazes are going to react with each other, I will do little test tiles. So I just wanted to see what the shimmers look like on the true mattes. And I wanted to see, because the shimmers are, I always don't know if it's semi-translucent or semi-opaque. They're semi-opaque. So I did 1, 2, and 3 coats on the true matte. So I'll do test tiles like this. So then I kind of know. So I just have test tiles for all kinds of random things. It could get out of hand. Like this could get a little out of control in the best way possible, but like so fun. But I'll do like little test tiles like that. Another thing that you could do that I was doing because I had run out of my little chips is I just did my color swatches on a tile. So you could do, something like if you made one main color wheel with your favorites, but there were like so many more options, you could have little tiles with suggested color combinations, or you can do your testing and like layer them and see, because some of them are semi-opaque and some are opaque and some are dark and some are light. So you can test like how they fire layered together. Sometimes too, it will change colors when you put them together and make a new color that you didn't think was going to happen. Yay for chemistry, science, it's real. So yeah, something like this. And what I always try to do, especially like on these, I try to have the color name and the number, just because that makes it easier for me. And then if you were selling them, this kind of makes it easy for you to like have them sorted and like, okay, you want to buy this one. Okay, so these are called I believe the earth crystals, and they are, struggling hard. You'd think it's Monday. So good. But yeah, so my little tiles here. And then I also tested the color burst chips on matte and glossy. So I mixed it in with Dalmatian. Can you guys see that shimmer? This is the heavy metal. And you get a little bit of this patina. I want to just put it on everything. So I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram. I just got a bunch of plants and I'm trying not to kill them, especially because I named some of them after my friends. So trying to be really cautious of that. But I use these little Duncan condiment bowls and I'm going to put all my little plants in them. But I did the heavy metal on the true matte, and see how it got a little bit of green? It's kind of awesome. I'm really into that. So the heavy metal is kind of my new obsession. All right, so color wheels. You'll see here on, oh look, okay, is that a good, that's a good angle right there, yeah? Okay. On on this one, I applied it a little bit differently. So you could, everything is backwards, friends. Okay, so what I did is I brushed the indigo on, and then the frozen, and then the marshmallow. And what I did is, as they were wet, I used 3 different brushes, and I kind of brushed it to try to get like more of the ombre look on I just did one like that so that people could see the difference between kind of blending them and then layering them, because you can get different looks that way too, because I'm trying to give you as many options as possible. So your mind can be blown like mine has been for the last 2 weeks. And then the rest of them, I just did layers. So some of them have true mattes with another true matte with a crystal. Some of them are true mattes with Envision. So you get, man, I really wish, oh, there, can you kind of see the true mattes together and the glossy with the thing and then the crystals. Now this was a flat plate, so it didn't drip as much. I do have a couple of extra mugs that I had for this other project, but I kind of snuck them in if you guys would like to see them. It's a little bit more of like a non-traditional glaze combining that I'm really excited about. Anyways, but what I did, this would be something that would be good for your customers, is I did like, these are all taupe. These are all gray. These are all indigo. So I kind of did it like a color wheel with the colors and then suggested combinations. And then on this one, I did succulent. Succulent is so good. Dusty Sage and Succulent might be my favorite. A leather jacket, so the black. This one came out. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm okay. It's the leather jacket with outer space, and it has this kind of like dark blue with these like galaxy looking colors, and I'm so obsessed with it. This one is sangria, so like that wine color that everybody likes. This one is No Way Rosé, which is that like really good peachy color that everybody likes. And then again the succulent, which I kind of combine with the teals. Sorry, my lighting is not the best, friends. What I could do is I could try to photograph these. I tried to take some pictures, but the glare. Okay. Photographing glazed ceramics is one of the hardest things. And I studied photography in college. It's the only thing I learned in college. Didn't pay attention or just didn't take my general ed classes. Photographing glossy ceramics is so hard. So I'm going to try to get some better pictures for you guys. And I could post these color combinations if you're interested. But yeah, so a few other things I wanted to show you are, okay, so this one I already kind of gave you a little peek. I'll just kind of walk you through how I did it. I did the Dreamsicle on the outside, so kind of that orange and green combination. The green on the handle, but then if you look at the shape of the leaf, the vein goes all the way down. So what I did is I combined, that might be worse. I combined the true matte with the crystal glaze there. So you see I got a totally even different color on the vein. So if you're doing things with texture and patterns, like kind of play with parts of it being layered and parts of it not being layered. I mean, so fun. And then I did just black concepts on the true matte, which is, it's one's glossy and one's not. So you get this weird fuzzy effect that I love. And then I did a crystal on the leaf so that I could get the different colors there. Okay, I see a couple of yes pleases, so I will get on that. Okay, I was just revisiting the Fresh Botanicals because hi, my name is Sara. I have a brown thumb. I have killed multiple plants, but I am trying to make amends and change my ways. And I'm probably, now that I have Savannah's cell phone, going to be texting her constantly about my little plant babies now. But so I went back to the Fresh Botanicals collection because I was like, I need to paint a bunch of planters. And this one was kind of an experiment, but I'm kind of into it. So what I did is I did true matte marshmallow cream all over the outside. I did black concepts on the letters because I wanted I wanted the fuzzy edges. Okay. And I kind of wanted that contrast of glossy and matte. The inside I just did bottle green, or excuse me, emerald green, because it's going to be covered by dirt. Jenny, I know, but when you get fake plants, then you have to dust them. I mean, real plants you kind of have to dust, but like fake plants, I don't like dusting. Maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know. The guy at the farmer's market said I was loving them too much, that I was probably overwatering them. I basically am like over mothering and smothering my plants. Okay. And then you'll see here these kind of blobs that dripped. I'm really excited about this piece. I did organic little circular blobs of crystal glazes. And I used kind of all of the bluey, greeny, turquoisey ones. See this one? See what I mean by how some of them move a little bit more than others? This one almost dripped too far. But look at that. Just right. So I did those, and then you'll see I put the shimmer on the edges like a shadow, just to add another texture. So there's a little bit of black glitter there. And then I took the same green on the inside, the emerald green, and I took a liner brush and I painted these leafy stems all over the place in the negative space. And it dripped all together, and I'm really, really excited about it. So it's kind of fun because I honestly, when I put this in the kiln, I was like, could be good or bad. You just never know, especially because the crystals, they move in different ways. But I kind of like that it has this like organic drippy look, but then also little peaks, little peekaboos of the leaves. And if anything, the color combinations all kind of go together, and then you have that contrast of glossy and matte. So, so fun to kind of play around. Like I do have these from the fall. So this would be kind of the more traditional way oh look, if I come back, here's the light better. Kind of the traditional way of the layering of just like blocks of color. And then there's the other ways of like coloring in different spots with different textures. And then there's just the like go crazy more is more and see what happens while you cross your fingers and pray to the kiln gods. So there's all different ways to do it. This one I think everybody has already seen. This one we do have a tutorial on our YouTube because it's magical. But it's true mattes and envisions, so people can layer it this way. This is a great technique for people who come in and they're nervous and they maybe don't want to like do something with lots of detail or outline. Like this is just applying glaze and keeping track of your coats. So that could be good for that customer. Another way for you to use a combination of glazes is pieces with texture. What I like to do is I like to antique with concepts. So I'm antiquing with something that's glossy, like my underglaze. So I get the details of the texture because the true mattes tend to be a little flat, untextured pieces. Like they're not going to be like the envisions on a Christmas tree where it fills in and shows you all the detail. So I antique with my underglaze, my concepts, and then I do my normal 3 coats of true mattes on top. And what I do is I try to choose, obviously, like antiquing a dark color, putting the lighter true mattes on top. And you get this kind of, you can get the antique look with the glossy and the matte. And what's cool too is sometimes, you know how I was telling you, it gets a little fuzzy when you have the glossy and the matte kind of interact. So good. Another way to combine them is, I don't know if you guys have seen these pumpkins. I brought 2 of them. This is the tall pumpkin. This one is my favorite. It's the fairy tale pumpkin. It's like squatty. So cute. So what I did is I'm a hot mess. I'm really glad you guys can't see from this angle. I did envisions on the bottom. And then on the top, so then I did like I did the clear envision, Ion 1001. So I could just stilt and fire this like a specialty glaze piece. And then I took the lid and I did it with concepts, coordinating colors. And then I dipped the lid because I did it just like a regular concepts piece. And then combined it so that I could get this like really good detail coverage with the concepts, but have this flowy look as well. So that's another way to do it. Here's another way. So it's kind of the same concept as the pumpkins, but what I did is I did the envisions and the concepts on the same piece. So like with the separate pieces with the bottom of the pumpkin and the lid, and then glazing one and dipping the other separately, really easy. But this way I did the concepts design because I wanted these fine lines. It's like my little farmer's market harvesty fall pieces. But I wanted those fine lines, and with envisions, it's kind of hard because they're so flowy and have all that extra gloss. But I also wanted that translucent look. So what I did is I did it in 2 parts. It takes a little bit more time, but I feel like it's worth it. So I did concepts here. I did the envisions here. And then I did the clear brush on envisions on top of the concepts because I couldn't dip just the middle of the plate. Could if I was a wizard or a witch. I would be a witch because I'm not a witch. Although maybe I feel like I'm a wizard. So you could do both of those kind of together on the same piece. You just need to make sure that if you use like regular underglazes, that you do some sort of brush on glaze. Okay. But it's doable. And I think it's like a really cool effect to have both of those looks on the same piece. So again, there was the plate and then the matching bowl and cup. And so I did the envisions on the inside to match the plate, but then I did the outside, the concepts, and then Dean helped me. We dipped it like this. You could brush on, but I didn't. I wanted to just be able to dip it. So that's a way to combine both. It's a little bit more work, but again, once all that's done, you just tilt and fire, you know, and it's worth it because I think it looks really cool. Okay, do you guys want to see a sneak peek of the pieces that I was working on for another project? I don't see any yeses, but I'm going to show you anyways because I'm really excited about them. Spread out so far. Okay, so these were some experimental mugs that I did. I did like different shapes, and then I overlapped the different colors, and then I have like a big patch of the shimmers blending into the crystals. And then I have, this is a courtyard glaze. We have courtyards, and those are kind of like a satiny finish. They're really nice, but they have like this little speckled texture and then I overlapped it with the crystals. And then when I put the extra glaze on top, oh, somebody mentioned about their customers maybe putting too much on the edges. So what I do on the edges is sorry guys, I'm insecure. I don't want to just assume you want to see my craziness on this. Okay, so I dip my brush, and then what I do is I either tap it or I'll like brush it like this so it gets a good clump. And if I do it thick enough, I mean, I can pretty much do it one time, and that kind of helps the rim. But what I did on this one is I scraped it really thick because I wanted it to drip down. The other colors. So this, I have this one, and like you'll see, there's like different little magical spots where you get all, oh my gosh, look at right here. Oh, this glare is killing me. It's like this avocado green that I did not plan. And I love me some weird, like, blue green. Okay, this is my other one. I am most excited about this. I do have to say, though, I did tell you guys I am a heavy glazer, right? So you can see right here, here's what happened. See the little bump? It wobbles now. My crystals dripped a little too much. I mean, am I still going to use it? Yeah. Am I going to fill my coffee all the way up to the brim? Not in this mug. I'm still going to use it. Just that. So, I mean, this is more of like a non-traditional where I just layered like a collage. Look at this Polynesian lagoon. And then I took like the shimmers and the concepts and did brushwork, but then because it gets all hazy and drippy, it gets all cray-cray. Anyways, this is my, let's see, are those dots near the handle color bursts or just your dashes? This is the Black Diamond Shimmer. So it's glossy shimmer, the semi-opaque on the matte. It's good, right? So you can see it's got the fuzziness, but, and you can't, I wish you could look through my eyes and be in my head, but it's got little flecks of metallic-y glitter in it too. I'm going to put an order into anyway to get the glaze to use for combos. Yes, I am going to get on that right away and put those in for you. Let's see. There were any other questions, you guys? I was trying to stay around 45 minutes, and I've already talked your ear off for almost an hour. So I'll finish up. But yes, I'm going to work on lists of colors as soon as we get off this live. And I will get those to you ASAP. And I will try to reshoot the pictures of these plates without any glare. Sometimes it's like, you remember in Willy Wonka when my TV shrinks himself and goes into the TV and sends himself through the air into tiny little pieces? Like, I almost wish sometimes that kind of TV was real, or like Zoom or something. Like, we could just all actually be together without having to worry about camera angles or glare. You're welcome, you guys. I hope that I mean, I know it can feel kind of overwhelming with the, I know it can kind of, free shipping. I know that it can be kind of overwhelming because it's like, when I first sat down to do it, it's like so many options. But what helped me is I kind of narrowed it down and said, okay, I'm going to do just the 12 combinations on here. And then I narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 true mattes and then went from there. So if you're new to this and it's your first time ordering all of these, I would say kind of like what I tell myself, like, reel it in, Sarah, because I want to just do all the things all at the same time. But I hope that I kind of introduced you to something maybe you haven't tried before, and I'm encouraging you to do as many of those test tiles as you can, and just play around with all of the different combinations and the way that you layer them, and all the different texture combinations. Like, I think you guys are going to have so much fun. Obviously, in chatter or here, or find me on Instagram, and you can bug me in my DMs, tag us all. We've got at Duncan Ceramics, at Duncan PYOP, at Bisque Imports, at Little Top Moppet. Like, I want to see all the things that you guys are going to do with all of these unlimited options. Jenny, no, my son has not drawn it yet. I've been bugging him because he's not almost 12, March. But my tattoo girl that I've known for her for over 20 years, and I wanted her to do all my dinosaurs, she decided to like move to Nevada. So, nope. And then tattoo parlor, everybody was closed for so long, but yeah, it's gonna go here. I need a new one. I'm also just dying for the world to go back to normal, or something resembling normal, But you're welcome, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me and hanging in there. Sorry I talked your ear off for an hour. I know, how dare she? She should have checked with me and my dinosaur sleeve before she decided to just like make decisions for what's best for her family. But yeah, she opened up her own shop with her husband. They both are tattoo artists, so I'm happy for her, but also sad. But yeah, also on the cover of the handout, I have my email there. So if you have any other questions or want to reach out or anything, just shoot me an email. And I will see you guys around on Chatter and Instagram. And thank you to BI for having me. This was super fun, and I'm glad I kind of got to see and interact with some of you. Air hugs everywhere. Love you guys. Hopefully see you soon.